Okay, so the sheriff's office is investigating me for a crime for doing journalism.
Just know that Pulliam's going to be sitting in the shoulder there, but...
You were to have no contact with the witness, whom you shot in the back.
Hey, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do me a favor, bud?
Perhaps. What's up?
So here's the deal. We're dealing with a pretty high priority scene.
Okay.
We need you, if you would, stay in one location.
Okay.
The reason I'm saying that is because we have a K9 unit out here that needs to do a track, and if you're walking across the ground, that messes up the track. I'm not playing games. I'm not feeding you any nonsense or anything. Okay. I'm just being honest with you. Okay. What we're trying to prevent is you messing up the K9 track, which could potentially lead to interference.
Okay, so the sheriff's office is investigating me for a crime for doing journalism. Well, you just said a crime. You're trying to pin a crime on me now.
Justin, I'm not trying to pin anything on you. Okay, I'm trying to prevent you from it actually happening. Okay, I'm trying to be as honest and open as I can, man to man. Okay. So with that being said, with you walking through the grass. I'm not saying necessarily right now. I don't know if you have or not. That's up to the Sugar Land K9 units as to whether or not you have. Okay, that has nothing to do with me. What I'm getting at is if we do find somebody or a location, a direction of travel, whatever the case may be, right? And the K9 needs to track. If your tracks in the grass cross the path of whoever's running from us, then it throws off the K9. Does that make sense?
Who's the commander right now?
The sergeants are up there, but
no, who is in charge of the sheriff's office tonight?
Lieutenant Rollins. Okay.
Under threat of arrest and prosecution, you're threatening me of a crime? I'll get out of here. Hey, your buddy with the gun, he's in my instant messages. I hooked him up with some civil attorneys. Have a good night. Go get back to work.
Who?
Go get back to work.
All right.
When you do what I do, you should get mad only on purpose. But I was genuinely triggered when I learned that Taylor Rollins was promoted for the second time since arresting me. Meanwhile, Fort Bend County has banned me from doing my job. They keep fabricating reasons why I can't film. With the threat of criminal prosecution, Fort Bend County once again chilled me from documenting the official acts of the county government. I left and went back to Rosenberg. But the deputy wasn't merely hypothesizing strategies to criminalize filming. After reviewing the radio traffic, Sugar Land police were indeed trying to set me up. Months ago, when I last filmed the police, the same Sugar Land K9 officer was also instigating.
Be advised, Pulliam and Lindsay.
These police are here to help this person on a welfare concern, okay? This is what happens when the police come to help someone.
Be advised, Pulliam is going to be following 36.
Sheriff Eric Fagan's official policies for all information to be denied and hidden from me, unless I file complaints to force it out of them. The deputies did not tell me what was going on. Their level of secrecy is taken to the absurd. For example, instead of immediately broadcasting the suspect's description over the radio, they put it in a secret computer message. I guess finding the imaginary suspect wasn't very important to them.
For units on assault, see the notes that I just added for subject description and the direction travel of unknown for Sugar Land. That's where I'm getting the information I just want.
The out-of-town tyrants taking over my county are bringing all the worst things about Houston. Unashamed corruption and bureaucratic incompetence. However, they refuse to implement the good policies, like due process and transparency. When Fagan illegally ejected me from his press conference, he knew my rights from his time working on the mayor's detail in Houston. But in deposition, he conveyed that upholding the Constitution was the Houston rule, not his. Since yesterday's case is out of Houston, I already know many of the details. According to the Harris County District Attorney's Office, The suspect, Shaimane Fontenay, allegedly shot and killed a man during a narcotics transaction while her 4-year-old daughter watched. She then allegedly shot the man's cousin in the back before driving to Richmond. If you have $14,000 and some collateral, you can bond her out of jail this morning.
In this case, defendant went to the complainant's home to purchase narcotics with her 4-year-old daughter. Defendant shot and killed the complainant after an argument. The complainant's cousin overheard the argument and the shooting and observed the defendant standing over the complainant, holding a firearm in her hand, while her 4-year-old was standing behind her. And then pointed and shot the complainant's cousin. Defendant did admit to shooting and killing the complainant.
A high bond, therefore, is necessary to ensure community safety. First degree case, bond is set at $80,000. Your second degree felony case, the aggravated assault with deadly weapon case, ma'am, your bond is set at $50,000.
If it was a Fort Bend County case, it would take months to learn the same information, and that's only if they didn't illegally cover it up. In Fort Bend County, with the protection of District Attorney Brian Middleton and his fake public integrity unit, no local government is required to provide information to the public. That's why I must be on location to document police activity firsthand. 50 minutes, almost an hour after receiving the high-priority call, the night shift deputies under Lieutenant Rollins finally approached the suspect vehicle. It's the level of service you would expect when the incompetent liars are the boys being promoted through the ranks, led by Senior Police Officer Eric Fagan.
Make sure we got Pulliam on scene right now.
Fagan's deputies knew the vehicle was occupied by a child, so they continued with the felony stop, pointing semi-automatic weapons in the exact direction of the 4-year-old before finally removing her. Officer safety is the sole American value. It's the only thing that matters in 2024.
the right on the feeder. Just know that Pulliam's going to be in the shoulder there, but see if you can find that male I described. He should be on foot somewhere in this area.
The deputies stood around for 20 minutes and then tried to question me without an attorney present. After that, they brought out the canine. They never told me they were looking for someone else or shared the description. Since I filed my lawsuit, Fort Bend County has gotten even worse. The police refuse to honor their oath to uphold the Constitution. Instead, they scheme about how to criminalize filming the police. I was over 100 feet away from the incident, much further away than I usually film. But it's not only about distance. That's just an excuse they use when they think they can. What it's really about is me being there at all to document the official acts of the police from beginning to end, or at least beginning to when I get kicked out. When the police point their rifles at children, I might be filming them, and they don't like that. Fort Bend County's tactic is to create a scenario to retroactively criminalize recording. Basically, at some point in the future, the scene dynamics might change, and your past actions are applied to what had not yet happened. That's how they tried my interfering case, with videos and sensationalist rhetoric about what happened an hour after I was already in custody. Not what I actually did. A scene could be a ticking time bomb, thus not even the most basic traffic stop should be filmed by the public. The newest scheme is that at some point in the future, the police might want to use a canine to track someone. So if you walked somewhere before anyone even knew there was an alleged manhunt, then you interfered. It's a clever way to end all cop watching, since you would never know which incidents might later involve a police canine. They could even manufacture a fake reason to use a dog just to arrest you. A good cop would tell the others to knock it off, that people have the right to film, to accept it, and to stop retaliating. The Sugar Land canine officer made no attempt to use the dog across the feeder road, even though I was dozens of yards away from the pavement. His statements were baseless posturing to build fake evidence against me. The dog was mostly running in circles and did not appear to follow a trail. It was mostly interested in a plastic sack that was near the suspect vehicle.
Negative on a good track. I think he crossed the street, and this filmer has already contaminated the area pretty good.
A few minutes later, the canine officer went to the truck he thought was mine to get my home address from the vehicle registration. Numerous vehicles were in the area, including one a few spots over, but Sugarland did not run any other license plate. If you film the police, you are stripped of your rights, lose your privacy, and face extreme scrutiny as cops constantly try to take you out in any way possible.
Henry Charles Young, 32 foot. Should go back to a Ford F-150. It's over here at CarMax with the phone with GPS on, as well as a wallet. Clear the last name play.
Fort Bend County recently spent tens of thousands of dollars on a video magistration facility. However, they continue to hold secret trials. At 11:45 on Sunday evening, John Gray and I filmed Harris County's public probable cause court. Unfortunately, the Fort Bend Sheriff continues to deny inmates their constitutional rights to a public trial and a defense attorney. Those are Houston's rules, not Fagan's.
Miss Shimone Fontenot.
This is her.
Fontenot. Stand up.
Ms. Fontenot, you have two cases pending before this court. They are both felony offenses. One is murder and one is aggravated assault with deadly weapon. Your cases are assigned to the 180th District Court. Your judge will be Deshaun Jones. Will you need a public defender when you reach Deshaun Jones's court, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you a U.S. citizen, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like Ms. Nasser's assistance today in our bail determination?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Ibanez, what says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. In both cases, the state filed motions requesting a no bond as a defendant is currently on felony supervision and committed a violent offense. State is against a pretrial release under 1703 and is requesting to refer the decision of bond to the district court. Defendant is currently on deferred for felon in possession. In this case, defendant went to the complainant's home to purchase narcotics with her 4-year-old daughter. Defendant shot and killed the complainant after an argument. The complainant's cousin overheard the argument and the shooting and observed the defendant standing over the complainant, holding a firearm in her hand, while her 4-year-old was standing behind her. Defendant then pointed and shot the complainant's cousin. Defendant did admit to shooting and killing the complainant. No additional bond conditions other than what's in the state's motions. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Nasser?
We'll request a $50,000 bond in the first degree case and a $30,000 bond in the second case with
Thank
no
you.
position and a
Yes,
finding of
ma'am.
innocency. Ms. Fontenot is 31 years old and has lived in Houston her whole life. She has no prior conviction of a crime. She's been at the same address for the last 9 years with her mother and her daughter. She's working as a delivery driver for Papa John's, making about $1,400 a month. And for purposes of the MOAB, she does not live with the complaining witness and can comply.
Thank you, Ms. Nasser. This court will not be entering into a MOAB. However, Ms. Fontenot will have conditions on bond. Ms. Fontenot, both of these offenses are offenses involving violence. They fall under Chapter 1703 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Therefore, this court is prohibited from granting you personal bonds in the cases. As Ms. Ibanez had previously iterated, you are currently on felony deferred adjudication for a weapons case. And while you are a lifelong resident and you do have community ties, your current supervision and your prior arrests have not deterred you from engaging in criminal behavior. A high bond, therefore, is necessary to ensure community safety. The court will find that you are indigent. Ma'am, your first degree case bond is set at $80,000. Your second degree felony case, the aggravated assault with deadly weapon case, ma'am, your bond is set at $50,000. Your conditions on bond are to have no weapons, no ammunitions of any kind, no firearms. You are to have no contact with the witness whom you shot in the back. And his name, Ms. Ibanez, can you help me with the witness's name? The cousin's name.
Corey Crawford.
Ms. Fontenot, you're to have no contact with Corey Fontenot. You may be seated.
Your Honor, are you putting the conditions in the murder or both?
I'm just putting it on the murder on the first degree case.